On today's show, it wasn't always pretty, but we'll break down how the Ottawa Senators were able to get 2 points over Calgary.
Plus, we got an update on Shane Pinto contract negotiations and big game this weekend up against the Montreal Canadiens.
This is Brady Tkachuk, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast.
You're Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome. You are locked on to the Ottawa Senators. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Brandon Piller, and today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Today is Friday, October 31st, and Pillsy, the Sens find a way to end the month with a victory 4-3 in a shootout over the Calgary Flames.
Oh, man, they didn't make it easy on themselves, Ross. Never leading in this game. You said, is it too much to ask not to get scored on first? I let you know it probably is. Although, did they make it to 5 shots, 5 minutes?
It was pretty close. I think it was 7 minutes into the game the goal went in.
There we go. Okay, so we gotta work on that. Well,
5:51.
5:51. How many shots was it? Do you know?
I don't. I think it was about 2 or 3.
Dang it. Okay, so we got the time we wanted, but not exactly the amount of saves we wanted. But who cares? It's a moot point. They find a way not only to get 1 point, but 2. I don't know about you, Ross, but I'm very confident in this team when it comes to overtime and shootouts. Like, as soon as they're able to get that game past regulation, obviously you have that relief and comfort of what's the 2?
It was second shot on goal.
Oh, okay. Okay. I thought you were just giving me peace. I'm out.
I'm leaving.
Yeah. All right. Sorry. This has been a great episode. Locked On Senators podcast. Your team every day. We're getting shorter episodes here. Sweet. But as soon as they get it past regulation, I love the way they play 3-on-3. Like, typically, they possess the puck for most overtime periods, and especially it helps when you get a power play here, although they weren't able to capitalize on this one. But then when it goes to shootout, and you've got players like Drake Batherson, Tim Stützle, and then typically Brady Tkachuk is also in the mix there, I feel really good about how this team is able to perform and execute once it's past regulation.
Yeah, and they had the power play opportunity in overtime. Couldn't get more than, they got 2 shots. I'd say 1 really high quality look, and Drake Batherson ripped one off of Devin Cooley's shoulder late in that overtime period. This was the Tim Stützle magic show, though, all night long, and we spoke at length on the postcast about it, so you can go check out that episode for more waxing poetically. But since Brady Tkachuk's been out of the lineup, our guy Jack Richardson compiled the stats there. It's been incredible to see. 9 games, he's got 5 goals and 7 assists. Good for 12 points, 8 of those points at even strength.
Yeah. Yeah, it's incredible. And Timmy played the second most ice time of the Ottawa Senators. Only Jake Sanderson played more. So, like, he's being worked. And, Ross, you called for him to be the one that steps up in Brady Tkachuk's absence. And I would say it's very fair to say that he has done just that.
Him and Drake Batherson starting the game after Brady went out, and he's got 13 points in 9 games during that stretch. So awesome to see the chemistry between those two. Dylan Cousins moving on to a different line just gives them a different look than when he was with Batherson. And you're just seeing some really solid team performances, or player performances, I should say. The team, though, still needs some work. It wasn't a pretty game last night. It was what Travis Green called a grind it out game. But what happens is the feeling, not the execution that you have after this game, that's giving me a lot of hype going into tomorrow against Montreal. And stay tuned later on for the full game day preview. But if that had gone the other way, we're having a very look in the mirror podcast today.
Yeah, big time. And Ross, the old saying goes, it's the destination, not the journey, right? It's not about how you get there, the work and friends you make along the way. It's just about getting to the top of that mountain. And the Ottawa Senators were able to climb the mountain of defeating the NHL's worst team in a shootout.
Yes. Dude,
what a beautiful view.
They're grinders, though. They muck it up. They don't make it easy. There wasn't a whole lot of space, and that was exemplified on the Kadri goal that put Calgary up with 10 minutes left in the game.
Yeah.
They were just trapping up the neutral zone, and they caught Jake Sanderson on a bad pinch or a bad deep dangle. Just chip it out at that point, live to fight another shift. Instead, it's a 2-on-1-ish, 2-on-2 rush the other way.
Yeah.
Nick Jensen just didn't really look too good there, spinning around, and ultimately the puck's in the back of the net. But credit to the boys. Under 3 minutes left. They tie the game. Second time. I mentioned this last night, but I'll do it again because it's important to get these home points. The second game, Seattle as well, where Dylan Cousins tied it late. This was Jake Sanderson. They don't just get the one. They managed to win the shootout in both games. And the Sens are a sneaky good shootout team. I feel like Ottawa has played less shootout games than a lot of other teams in the league.
Especially last year. They hardly ever went to the shootout.
I can actually figure this out. Let's go
OSB stats department.
Since the COVID division. So after that, the Ottawa Senators have played 13 shootouts, which is 28th in the league, tied for 26. But yeah, only 5 teams, including Arizona, that doesn't exist anymore, have played in less shootouts than the Ottawa Senators. But
and what do you have their winning percentage on that? Do you have the stats there?
I do. Take a guess.
How many did you say? 13?
13 games. And this starts in the 2021-22 season.
I'll say maybe this is bullish, but I'll say they won 9 of them.
10-3 is the record.
There we go. So it was not bullish.
So the 6th least amount of games, but the Senators have the second best shootout win percentage in the National Hockey League over that time. Only Nashville at 12-2 is better. But let's not get to extra time against Montreal because they're a good overtime team themselves. Cole Caulfield has 3 overtime goals already this season. What has to happen to score first? I sound like a broken record.
You asked me this yesterday.
I know, but they've allowed the first goal in 10 out of 12 games, and you can't be playing from behind on the road ever, really. It's not ideal, but on the road in the Bell Center, that place is going to be a madhouse if they open the scoring on the first 2 shots.
I'm pretty sure the Sens record when being scored on first this year is really good, though. I think it's like 5-2 or something like that.
No, 5-4-1 because they've only scored first twice, and they're 1-1.
Yeah, jeez.
But I mean, I guess like that's good to be above 500 when the opponent scores first.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for you, Ross. I have no clue what the Sens need to do to score first because it just seems impossible. I pretty much go into every game at a -1 handicap for the Ottawa Senators.
Yeah, don't bet on the Sens on FanDuel before the game. Wait until the first goal, and that way
get those
still do money
odds.
line, get the increased live odds because it's death taxes and the Ottawa Senators allowing the first goal of the game. That's what we've seen so far, but it's of the utmost importance tomorrow to score first. At least, remember when we went to that Montreal-Ottawa game early last year, the Senators had an early power play. They were pressing. They couldn't score. And then all of a sudden, the Habs score once, and the building gets rocking. They start chipping away, and it didn't go Ottawa's way. It was 4-1, the final score there. Timmy had a sick goal, but when you score a sick goal down 3-0, it doesn't have the same oomph as when you do late. He almost scored a baseball goal last night.
It was close. Well. Yeah, I mean, that's Timmy's specialty. So I thought he was going to get that. As soon as I saw that bouncing up and him swing, I thought that was going to be the one that tied it.
And can we talk about how Drake Batherson, just like the gumption and vision to make that play? I know it bounced on him a little bit, but that was an incredible play right into the slot.
Yeah, great play. And Drake Batherson in the shootout, just being like, I am going to muscle this puck past Cooley here. Cooley got a lot of it. He pretty much made the save. It just was too hard of a wrist shot. It forced its way through. And then I love watching Timmy in the shootout because you never know what he's going to do.
No, he's got a full bag of tricks. And he does the old Patrick Kane slow down and then just take what the goalie gives him. And we posted at Sens Central this morning the shootout percentage leaders during Tim Stützle's career. He's tied for 5th in shooting percentage in the shootout. So let's let this kid stay hot in shootouts. Although I do have to say, win or lose, the shootout sucks compared to 3-on-3 overtime.
Of course.
What did you think of Linus Ullmark's game last night?
Fine, solid. I wouldn't say he was amazing or he's the reason they won that game, but honestly, all we need is fine, solid goaltending with once in a while stealing a win. So if this is what Linus Ullmark is able to do, that's going to be good enough. And I do like that he kind of not walked back, but realized the comments that he made after the Chicago game. He was like, look, that's my bad. I got to eat those words. I can't just kind of put it, I'm paraphrasing here. You can't just put it all on the team. This was a mature effort and a mature win from us tonight. So he kind of reversed the narrative that he had in the last post-game comment. So Linus Ullmark is his post-game and any media
He's an enigma.
Availability with him, it's just wild. The things that he says, he speaks in a very I don't know, strange manner.
Word of the day, enigma. He speaks in an enigmatic way. An enigma is something or someone that is mysterious, puzzling, or difficult to understand.
I agree. Yeah, you nailed that. I would say that's definitely fair for Linus Ullmark. But you know what, Ross? Bring back goalies being weird. I want my goalie to be an absolute weirdo. And when this guy walks into the rink, you're like, that guy's a goalie because he's dressed insanely different than any other human being would be dressed, other than some of the top fashion guys that like to really be out there. And then his quotes are just out of this world. So I like it. Stay weird.
Hey, the Selly in the shootout too.
Sick. I love a goalie Selly in the shootout. Love it.
And he earned it. That save, talk about mature, staying with Morgan Frost. And he came in with a ton of confidence. And same with using Justin Kirkland first. It's one of those where like, he's got to have a reputation. Got to have a reputation in practice or in other leagues where it's like this guy is a shootout specialist. I don't have his numbers up in front of me, but to Morgan Frost, the final save, left pad, Frost came in and was like, I know exactly what I'm doing. Comes in on the left side fast and then just slows up, and he stayed with him the whole way. Shuffle, left pad save, Stelly, and then hit the music. Senators get 2 points. Should Linus Ullmark start in goal tomorrow? Obviously. But what else needs to happen for the Ottawa Senators to pull off a road win in Montreal? Game day preview and Shane Pinto contract negotiations per Bruce Garrioch last night. We'll give our takes on the rumored offer. You're listening to Locked On Senators, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Gametime. Hockey season is officially here, and nothing beats being in the arena for those opening games. But let's be real, getting tickets, sometimes it can be a total headache. Between waiting in queues for hours, surprise fees, and prices that jump right before checkout, it's easy to get frustrated when all you want to do is cheer on your team. But that's where Gametime comes in, the app that gives the fans the advantage, and it's the ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NHL tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. I got my ticket to the home opener on Gametime. Then Marcia and I pivoted our plans, and he got 2 tickets on Gametime, and it was easy to get that done. I love what you see is what you pay. Nothing worse than getting to a checkout when you got your tickets and you think, I got a sweet deal. Nope, hit with all these hidden fees. That's not the Gametime way. What you see is what you pay. They got zone deals, absolute game changer. You pick the section, Gametime picks your seats, and you save big. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's code LOCKEDONNHL at Gametime for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go.
Today's episode is also brought to you by the GLEBE Central Pub. It's our neighborhood pub in the heart of the Glebe at 779 Bank Street. When you head there, tell them we say what's up. You can also get on the Sens Shuttle, just $18 round trip. All 4 November dates are now available for purchase. GLEBECentralPub.com. That includes Utah on November 9th. That's a Sunday. And also Dallas's lone visit to Ottawa on November 11th. Boston's here on November 13th. And then the LA Kings on the 15th. Other than that, it's a road month for Ottawa. So you can go catch the game at the Glebe Central Pub. They got live music every Saturday night, no cover ever. Wing nights on Mondays, cheap tacos on Thursdays. You can see all their great specials on their website at GLEBECentralPub.com. huge supporter of us here at Locked On Senators. We love the food, the drinks, the vibe. They're free at the GCP. The vibes are free. The food's delicious. The drinks are ice cold. Go ahead there today, 779 Bank Street, and let them know that Locked On Senators sent you. All right, Pilsy, we are basking in the glory of not only a get back on track win for the Ottawa Senators, but the last day of October. I love November 1st. Happy birthday to my mom.
Yes.
But November has not been kind to the Senators since the last time they didn't have a November, which was during the COVID season. Afterwards, it's been a month of hell. All the time, every time. Is this voodoo? Witchcraft? How do we get rid of it?
Yeah, there's the only way to get rid of it, Ross, is to start the season in January like they did the COVID year. Otherwise,
they went 1-11 to start the season in the COVID year, so I don't think that's going to work out either.
But at least it wasn't in November.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, you're right.
That you asked how to get rid of it, Ross. That's how you get rid of the painful woes in November. You don't.
What's
play
too
in
much
November.
to ask? Get rid of November or score a goal first in a game?
Get rid of November is too much to ask because that means
that
the
is a
hockey
lot.
season starting later. So that's an easy one for me to answer. Yeah, it makes Halloween even spookier for Sens fans because it's in their head. Like it's not just a coincidence. It's not a recurring thing. It's a curse that has been put upon this team. I don't know exactly why or how or who is behind the curse, but someone has a voodoo doll of all the Sens players and is just stabbing away as soon as Halloween is over.
Well, the first way to get rid of the curse is to win the first game of the month,
That helps.
which Ottawa has the opportunity to do on Saturday.
Oh boy.
They have not won the first game of November in any of the last 4 seasons, and it's been really, really, really hard for them. In 49 games in November, in the last 4 seasons, 49 games, they have 14 wins.
Oh my God.
That is a problem. Now, last year, they played tied for the most amount of games, but they did have the most wins. They went 5-8-1, and I'm trying to shine that up. They had a -9 goal differential. Now, we will say the first year after COVID was really what makes these stats unbearable. They went 1-10-1 with a -26 goal differential.
Insane.
They started the month, you'll like this one, with a 5-1 loss in Chicago.
Ugh.
And they spiraled from there. And then at the end of that month, we said, you know what this team needs? You know what the citizens need? They need a post-game show live on YouTube after every single game. That was 310 postcasts ago, Pilsy, and we are still talking about the pits of November. So hopefully the Ottawa Senators can get to a good start and have a good road month, because it's not an easy month on top of what we just described. They're playing on the road a lot and in some tough barns too. So buckle up, Sens fans, because November is going to be one heck of a ride.
Now, I will try to spin zone this in a positive way, Ross. Only 4 of the games in November are up against Eastern Conference teams, because including a 6 game road trip out west. So at least, Ross, if you're going to have a bad month, do it up against Western Conference teams so that you're not allowing other teams to leapfrog and jump over you in the standings. Now, obviously, that's me kind of conceding a way of month-long losses, but the record is there. We got to hope for the best, plan for the worst. And yeah, if you're going to go on that road trip to California and out west and you're going to lose a lot of those games, obviously we hope that doesn't happen, but at least it's the Western teams.
I guess so. And I'm not going to rip the schedule makers again. Maybe I will. But this road trip goes from Anaheim to San Jose and then back to LA, which is like next door to Anaheim. Then they go from Vegas to St. Louis, which is further east.
Yeah.
And then back to Dallas afterwards. So Anyway,
it's not great.
That's a tough road trip. You're going to have to beat the teams that you need to beat. I'm looking at you, Anaheim, San Jose, St. Louis.
And I want to see that. Obviously, want to see them beat Montreal tomorrow. But you got Boston twice and Philly. Those are teams you just were able to beat. Those are beatable teams that should be viewed as beneath you as far as where these teams are in their competitive window. Take advantage of that. Get those wins, because a lot of these Western teams are going to be tough, especially Dallas twice. The Utah Mammoth are hot right now. You got Vegas, another team we're scared of that always seems to have the Sens number, especially in Vegas. So it's not going to get easier once you're done with those Eastern teams. So pad the stats a little, win those more important Eastern Conference games.
There's a pair of doubled up opponents this month. There's 13 games total. You mentioned 2 against Boston. Well, they also have their entire season series against the LA Kings in a span of 9 days. That's the final home game before the road trip. And then, of course, they stop in LA during it. So it's going to be a critical month, and we will see what comes of it. We'll be here every day on Locked On Senators. Shane Pinto, contract talks. We've spent a lot of airtime talking about his importance to the team and how he's the same age as the core and how it just makes sense for him to grow and still produce in whatever role he's in, 2C, 3C, middle 6 for now. What's the cost of that? We're seeing the highest contracts we've ever seen. No surprise with the salary cap going up the next 3 seasons, confirmed. Big money. Where does Shane fit into that? Well, after a summer of offering him contracts in the $5 million AAV range, this is all per Bruce Garrioch at intermission last night on TSN. This last month, they went to him and said, we got to get serious. We don't think this is going to get it done, but we can't have our last offers in the 5s. Bruce is reporting that they offered him an 8-year contract in the $6.5 million range. Lower than our last projection for him. But if you're Shane Pinto's camp, are you at least seeing that as a sign of good faith in negotiations?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you get an increased salary offer, that I would view that as good faith. In no way, shape, or form do I see Shane Pinto doing an 8-year deal. I've stand strong on this, Ross, and I will continue to stand on this, and I will underline and bold it. I don't think the Ottawa Senators should sign Shane Pinto to an 8-year deal. I think you want a bit of flexibility, and 8-year deals should be left for franchise cornerstone players. Not that I'm downplaying how important Shane Pinto is, but Shane Pinto, the rumor is that he's looking at a 3-year deal. I think he wants to be kind of closer to where Brady Tkachuk's deal ends to get a better idea of where this team is. And obviously, we hope and assume that Brady Tkachuk will re-sign and be a Senator for life. But if you're a player, you can look at that because all the other guys are locked up to longer deals. The Tim Stützles, Jake Sandersons, Dylan Cousins, those guys are longer than that. And I think if you're Shane Pinto, you probably want a deal that is done, I would say 6 years is the longest he would go. That takes him to 30 years old. Then you got another opportunity to sign one more big ticket deal with that cap going up the way it's going to. So I really think we're looking at either a 3-year deal, which would be what Shane Pinto and his agent seem to want, or a 6-year deal, which is closer to what the Ottawa Senators want.
Because you can't have that much to do in one offseason. I get it if putting yourself on the same timeline as Brady is something you want to do.
But a 3-year deal would put Pinto 1 year after Brady. Let's make that clear.
Oh, right. Because it would start next season. Exactly. Right. Okay, that makes sense. And you're buying 1 UFA year, right? In that standpoint, I just look at how Shane Pinto, his contracts have gone. I think if you put enough money in front of him, guaranteed, at an 8-year term, it's easy. It's easy. One thing to say, oh yeah, I'll wait, I'll get it later. It's another thing to have that money put in front of you and said, if you sign this piece of paper, it's guaranteed.
Yeah,
it's coming to you. So it'll be fascinating to see, but I am glad the Senators did go back and say, look, we really do want you a part of this core. And here is an act of us showing what we mean.
Well, they're raising the floor is what they're doing, Ross. Like you said and Bruce said, they don't expect Shane Pinto and his agent to hear 6.5 and be like, yep, hell yeah, let's sign that. That's just like, okay. We realize that now with how things are going, especially the way the market is going, the $5 million range just ain't going to do it. Like, we're fully aware of that. So let's move the floor back up to 6.5 because you never want to start your negotiations with the highest dollar amount because there's going to be some back and forth. And then typically you end up meeting in the middle. It's the dance that you have to do. But at least you start, and now Shane Pinto and his camp can be like, all right, 6.5. Let's work with that. Let's get closer to somewhere, like Bruce said, probably what they're looking for is in between Dylan Cousins and Brady Tkachuk money, which
Yeah.
I'll stand. I think 6 years at 7.3. That's a nice deal. And I think that should get it done.
I'd be happy with that for sure. Let us know in the comments what you think about these rumors and reports, I should say, about Shane Pinto's contract negotiations. On the other side, Sens versus Habs. We've been talking all week leading up to this. Well, it's here. And how's it going to go? Full preview next. You're listening to Locked On Senators, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. The NFL season is here, NHL season is here, and the World Series is here. And FanDuel's making sure you're ready for every kickoff, puck drop, and first pitch with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love FanDuel. Ross loves FanDuel. You should too, because it fits however you want to bet. Player props, same game parlays, or even jumping in live as the action unfolds. The Toronto Blue Jays can win the World Series tonight at home in Canada up against the Dodgers. They got the 3-2 lead in the World Series. The Jays are underdogs at plus 120, plus money for them to win the World Series tonight. The over-under set at 7.5. So if you think they can take it home tonight, put your money where your mouth is and do it on FanDuel because it's quick, easy, and the best way to add a little more energy to all your favorite sporting events. So if you're ready to play, what are you waiting for? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet.
All right, Pillsy. November 1st. Senators, Habs in Montreal. It's the first of 2 months that will start with a Sens versus Habs game in Montreal. The Sens are back there on December 2nd. The Habs have been really good this year. Really good. And there's not much that we can say to disprove the way that they're winning games. Overtime, sure. They've got 4 overtime wins. But they just got back from a very tough road trip. Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, Seattle. And they come back 3-1. And it was a goal with a minute left that gave Edmonton the win over them. So they're in every game. They're fast. They're a problem.
Yeah, they're a problem. And that sucks to see, Ross. The way we cover prospects and the way the Montreal Canadiens have drafted, you and I have been very aware that they've done a good job and they have a really good prospect pipeline. But we were kind of hoping that it wouldn't be this year. Maybe you'd start to see it next year, and then in 3 years, they'd be a real problem. But right now, they're tied for first in the Atlantic Division with the Detroit Red Wings, the team you predicted would finish last.
I still believe it.
Yeah, well, good. We'll see how that goes. But it's a lot to do with their goaltending, but not the goaltending of Sam Montembeault, but more the goaltending of Dobish, who in 6 games is 6-0, 197 goals against, and a .930 save percentage. However, Martin St. Louis announced yesterday, maybe even a day before, that Sam Montembeault was going to be their starter now. It hasn't gone Montembeault's way this year in 5 games. 2 wins, 3 losses, 3.82, and an .842 save percentage. Those are worse numbers than Linus Ullmark, but Sam Montembeault has been pretty good up against the Sens in the past, especially the game we were at, Ross, the first Habs game in Montreal last season. He completely shut the door, and Linus Ullmark faltered big time. So it doesn't make me feel any better no matter what goalie was starting here, either of them could have success up against the Sens. We're hoping not, though.
Well, at least Ottawa was able to snap the losing streak against Montreal, right? It got to 3 games after Ottawa won 9 in a row previously, and the Sens got the win on April 11th, 5-2, the score there. So at least we're not worried about the streak getting worse. It's a new year. Both teams very confident in their own organizations. The Jake Sanderson versus Lane Hudson conversations, they're not going anywhere. It feels like we're bringing it back to 2013, PK Subban, Erik Karlsson. And hopefully this one goes like that one went, where now it's no doubt when you look back, history shows Erik Karlsson was head, shoulders, knees, toes, all the way above. And wrist. PK, we don't forgive you for that micro fracture on Mark Stone in 2015. But that's 11 years ago. It's also the last time these two teams met in a playoff series. I thought it was going to be every other year. It was 2013. It was 2015. We were waiting for you in 2017. Second round, you guys couldn't get past the Rangers. Well, Ottawa did in the second round, thanks to a young French-Canadian man by the name of Jean-Gabriel Pageau, who Montreal was ready to draft 1 pick later. Ottawa gets him early in the 4th round. And damn, I need La Brigade here. The rest is history. Tout est histoire. No, I think that's everything is history.
No.
Alex will help me out in the comments for sure. But Montreal is going to be a tough test. This is the first big game of the season for the Ottawa Senators. Is that fair to say?
Agreed. Yeah. Like we've had 2 must-win games where the Ottawa Senators are 1-1. I'm not putting the must-win on this, but
big game.
But it's a big game. Saturday night in Montreal.
Haven't played the Leafs yet. Haven't played the Wings yet. Like,
first meeting. Yeah, this is their first big bright lights game. How about we call it that? A bright lights game.
Bright lights. Turn them on. And to get back to the Sanderson versus Hudson, they're second and third among defensemen in scoring right now in the National Hockey League. And Jake Sanderson is in second place. It's awesome. Obviously, Cale Makar in first, making a mockery of the National Hockey League. But that head-to-head matchup is going to be something to watch. And there's a whole lot more storylines we'll get into after we take a look at the lines expected for the game. Senators traveling to Montreal today. Doesn't seem like they're out for a skate. I would be shocked if Travis Green switches his lineup from last night. It was Tim Stützle with Nick Cousins and Drake Batherson, Dylan Cousins with Ridley Gregg and David Perron, Shane Pinto centering Michael Amadio and Claude Giroux, while Lars Eller, former Hab, is between Curtis McDermott and Fabian Zetterlund. On the back end, Jake Sanderson's with Artem Zub, who 8 points in 12 games for Artem Zub. Thomas Chabot with Nick Jensen, Tyler Clevin with Jordan Spence, point per game defenseman Jordan Spence, Linus Ullmark expected to start in goal. Unfortunate not having Tkachuk for a Habs Sens game. He always brings the emotion, physicality, and hate to the rivalry games, so we'll miss him in the lineup. The Habs are without a couple key players as well. We'll get to when we get to the Habs lines. But Pilsy, what's the biggest key to victory before your locked on player?
Well, I'm going to reverse Uno here, and I'm going to do my locked on player first, Ross, because it transitions perfectly out of what you said with Brady Tkachuk. You know who else brings the hate, passion, and maybe not necessarily the physicality, but someone that gets up for playing games against Montreal Canadiens, especially in Montreal? My locked on player,
Tim Stützle,
is going to be Tim Stützle. In 23 games up against the Habs, he has 8 goals, 12 assists for 20 points. The second most points he has against any franchise, the Toronto Maple Leafs. He has more points, 23 in 24 games. But Timmy has said it himself. He loves these moments. And I'm forgetting when it was, Ross. You probably remember. But when Timmy scored a game winner, I believe it was a game winner, or did it tie the game? It was a big goal up against Montreal. And he goes to the glass, and there's Habs fans literally giving him the middle finger, and he's just laughing.
Didn't he have the nose tampons in too? Didn't he get hit in the face earlier that game? I feel like he had his nose all plugged up.
I don't recall exactly what the situation was, but I just remember seeing Habs fans giving him the finger and him just laughing, celebrating a goal up against the boards. So he knows how big these games are, and he invites the bright lights here. And obviously, go ahead, Habs fans, Tim Stützle, diver, blah, blah, blah. We get it. Real original. But he enjoys these games, and he wants to stick it to Habs fans just as much as any Sens fan or player does.
Yeah, Habs fans, I think, just don't like the fact that he's so good at drawing penalties. Always near the top of the league in penalties drawn. If you just were a little bit faster, maybe you'd be able to knock him off the puck without tripping him. But this guy is awesome, and he's on an absolute heater right now. 12 points in his last 8 games. He's shooting the puck a ton. Since Brady Tkachuk's been out of the lineup, in 9 games, Tim Stützle has 28 shots on goal. Now, I'm going to have to go to my trusty calculator here. 28 divided by 9 is 3.111111 shots per game. The barometer for Stützle is 3 shots a game. We need that from him.
Yep.
Anything above it is gravy. But it's not just that he's shooting pucks. He's not taking Carolina Hurricane muffin Corsi shots from the sidewall. He's getting into the slot area and ripping shots. It's awesome to see. Love the call for Tim Stützle as your locked on player to watch. You know where I thought you were going when you said, you know who brings hate? My locked on player. Because if things are calm, we might not notice him. But if things start getting a little chippy, chances are Ridley Gregg's going to be a part of that. He's already got the whole GTA hating on him. Why not the province of Quebec as well? And I've been waiting for the offense for Ridley Gregg a little bit this year. I told you when we did our 1 word, 1 sentence, 1 paragraph, 1 essay on each player.
Yeah.
With Ridley Gregg, I said points don't matter. And now I've realized that I would like to see a little offense. As long as he's playing in a role where he's on a line with Dylan Cousins, like you're going to have to get a little bit of production on top of that. He's sitting at just 1 goal on the season, 1 assist only in his last 5 games. Took that double minor early in the game against Calgary that cost them the opening goal. I want to see him. I want to see him be assertive, and I want to see him be a pain in the ass. Like, remember, he fought Juraj Slafkovsky, and he gave up about 6 inches in the process. But, like, be that guy on a Saturday night when the lights are shining. That's what I'm going to be watching for Ridley Gregg. Like, give me a Ridley Gregg shorthanded breakaway goal. Like, just fire me right up. I don't know if you can do this on FanDuel, but let's go Levy lock plus 1,500 odds, maybe more. Gordie Howe hat trick for Ridley Gregg.
You cannot do that on FanDuel, but that would be great.
That was fan fiction. Pillsy, the Montreal Canadiens have depth at this point, and that's with a pair of injuries. Patrick Laine out of the lineup, and on the back end, Caden Gooley, huge loss, great defenseman for the Habs. Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, Juraj Slafkovsky. That's their top line, has been for the majority of the last season and a half. Then they've got a new look second line. Kirby Dach centering Zachary Bolduc and Joe Veleno. The third line is Oliver Kapanen with Alex Newhook and Ivan Demidov. The fourth line, Jake Evans with Josh Anderson and Brendan Gallagher. The back end is Mike Matheson with Noah Dobson, Jaden Struble with Lane Hudson, and Arbor Jackeye with Alexandre Carrier. We talked about Montembeault starting in goal. He's got awful numbers so far this season. Him and Linus Ullmark are right beside each other at the bottom of the National Hockey League in goals saved above expected. Ullmark is a -7, and Montembeault is -6.3. Only Caden Primo is in the middle. So we got a Habs, a Sens, and a Leafs goalie as the 3 worst above expected this season. I think it's almost more impressive. Side note, Caden Primo has that in only 3 games played. He's allowed 7 more goals than he should have.
And the Leafs picked him up off waivers from the Habs.
Oh, right. Yes, he was in goal for at least one of the games when Ottawa had that 9-game win streak. But Ottawa should count themselves lucky to not have to face Jakub Dobeš tonight. He's been ridiculous this season with a .930 save percentage. Your lookout player to watch.
My lookout player to watch is going to be number 3, Ivan Demidov. I mean, he's just so skilled. I'll never forgive the Columbus Blue Jackets for allowing Montreal to take him.
I go a step further. I don't forgive Chicago because of the Bedard aspect, though. No, but the Bedard aspect, those two should have been playing together forever. But Columbus, they went with a guy who everyone knew was injury prone and great player, Caden Lindstrom, when he's healthy. But come on!
Yeah, like Chicago has their franchise guy. Columbus could have got someone that could be their franchise guy. And Chicago took a defenseman, which in my opinion, they needed. I disavow that, and I put it all on the Columbus Blue Jackets because that was one pick ahead too. It would have been so nice to just be like, oh, pluck it away from Montreal and have them have to pivot. But it's not the case, and we're going to have to look out for him tonight. I mean, especially on the power play, when him and Lane Hudson get going, they can create some magic, and it makes me very nervous anytime he has the puck on his stick. So I'm going to be looking out for Ivan Demidov.
Yeah, and it's power play really where he's getting a lot of his extra looks, and he's just so patient. His vision, that overtime assist he had was ridiculous, where he just held it, and he's a dangerous player. So you got to be aware when he's on the ice. My lookout player is going to be Cole Caulfield. The guy, he scores goals. He's got 9 goals on the season. He's up to 13 points. He's the little man that could. Feels like he's just a water bug out there, always in the mix. Now, out of those 9 goals, 3 of them are in overtime, which is impressive. I'm not taking anything away from him, but that's in a 3-on-3 setting. And he's also got a power play goal on top of that. So he's got 5 goals at even strength. And if you're the Ottawa Senators, you're hoping, at 5-on-5, because obviously 3-on-3 is still even strength as well. I digress. Cole Caulfield's a problem. And Nick Suzuki has gone full playmaker mode on the top line. He's got 14 assists and only 2 goals. Slavkovsky's the big body. Like, this is a prototypically built top line. Playmaker, sniper, power forward. And I'm watching the sniper because they're the ones that finish the job. And he scored in that game last year that we were at against Ottawa. And the pop in that building, when anyone scores as big, they love Cole Caulfield there. And Ottawa's going to have to be aware when he's on the ice.
Yeah, and it's too bad for Slavkovsky. His hero, Brady Tkachuk, isn't playing in this game. But
maybe he could have got a stick after. Yeah,
definitely. But still, he's a power forward that's coming into his own. And
10 goals in 14 games against the Ottawa Senators for Cole Caulfield. Only 2 assists. He's on the Cy Young trajectory, but 10 goals in 14 games. And Habs fans, I haven't forgotten. I did say that Shane Pinto will be a better all-around player. I said he would have a better NHL career than Cole Caulfield. And I got clowned on. They brought it up year after year. It's been pretty quiet this year. Caulfield, great player, and I always maintain that. That was me saying that Shane Pinto is going to be right up there. And people are like, how are you comparing a winger and a center? Like, that was such a dumb thing to bring up. Well, I did it when they were both finalists for the Hobey Baker in the same year, prospects at the time for Montreal and Ottawa. Shane Pinto with 8 goals, Caulfield with 9, although all of Shane Pinto's goals are at even strength, 5-on-5. Pilsy, key to victory here.
This one's easy for me, and I would like to bold, italicize, underline, and raise the font by like 10 or 15, Ross. Discipline. Discipline will be what wins or loses this game, because we've seen games between these two teams can turn into an utter gong show, even in the preseason, with no points on the line. The Montreal Canadiens are 7th in power play percentage at 21.8, I mixed those numbers up, 28.1, right behind Ottawa at 28.9. However, the Ottawa Senators are 31st in the league in penalty kill percentage at 62.2%. The Calgary Flames were able to score half of their power play opportunities up against the Ottawa Senators. So, if you're going to play an undisciplined game and you're going to allow guys like Cole Caulfield, Demidov, Lane Hudson, Suzuki to get onto the power play, you're shooting yourself in the foot, and you're going to ruin any chances you have of staying in this game. So discipline is the number one key to victory, in my opinion.
Agreed. And for Ottawa, not only is it discipline, but it's about doing that while still being at your best. And when the Sens are at their best, they're forechecking hard. Their second man in is digging out pucks, and they're working the puck fast around the offensive zone. So play fast, and you'll probably have a better chance of drawing more power plays. Ottawa's special teams right now is at a -1 on the season. They've got 13 power play goals, but they have allowed 14 goals on the penalty kill, while Montreal has scored and allowed 9 goals when they're on the PP or the PK. So will be fascinating to watch that. Montreal is 8-3-0 on the season in 11 games. They're first place, tied, or are they in sole possession of first? I don't really look at the standings too much in October. They're tied with Detroit, both at 8-3. So it's going to be just an awesome hockey game. Ottawa's already played one extra game than Montreal. The Habs, they're going to be well rested. They came back from out west earlier this week, had 3 full days off before tomorrow's matchup. So it's going to be all systems go. An empty the tank game for the Sens, who don't play again until Thursday after tomorrow's game. So buckle up, buckle in. Follow the show on Twitter at Sens Central. We will be taking you through the game and, of course, have the postcast for live reaction live on YouTube. Shout out to all the Habs fans who join us. I do appreciate some of the comments we get saying, hey, if you talked about the Habs more, we would be subscribers. So don't be shy. Hit that subscribe button. You're allowed to hate watch the show. And I feel like a lot of Canadian hockey fans, like the country Canada, are good at following all the teams in Canada. So jump on, get in the mix, and have some good water cooler talk for that one Sens friend at the office in Montreal. I'm looking at you, Jack. Looking at you, Stewie. You absolute beauties in the heart of enemy territory. Pillsy, any final thoughts as we head into the weekend?
Yeah, final thoughts. This is the first bright light game, first game up against the Habs. I would just like to say on Twitter, online, in person, the hate, the rivalry is great, but let's keep it clean. Like, no,
it's my mom's birthday, okay? Like, don't get crazy.
Yeah, like no personal attacks, no keep the swearing to a minimum. If you're going to go back and forth with stats, that's fine. We all we could plan a whole conversation between Sens and Habs fans very easily. So if you want to run through that gauntlet and just reverberate the back and forth stats, that's fine. But just sports is meant to be fun. There's meant to be rivalries. Hate is a good thing in sports, in my opinion. It brings up passion, brings up emotion, gets people engaged. But let's keep it clean. Both sides. Are
you asking people to be reasonable online?
No. You can be unreasonable, but just don't be too mean. Because
I was gonna say, we always say that in person, and it's usually in Ottawa because the Habs fans, the Leafs fans that come, it's like, oh, let's get away for the weekend and drink as many beers as we can. But like when we went to Montreal, like we got a couple chirps.
No, but yeah, that's what I mean. Most of the time, people are good, and we invite chirps our way because we'll toss them back. But as long as it's all in good fun, then there's no problem. But sometimes it's a little out of control.
All right, stats you can use. My final thought is that the Ottawa Senators' top 3 centermen, Tim Stützle, Dylan Cousins, and Shane Pinto, all have a 2-goal game this season. So in one game, each of the Senators' top 3 centermen have as many goals as the Habs' top centerman, Nick Suzuki, has all season. That's 2, tied with Sens' fourth-line center, Lars Eller. We'll see you tomorrow in the postcast. Happy Halloween, everyone. Be safe out there. Have fun and eat as much chocolate and candy as you can get your hands on. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan. Thank you so much for liking, watching, listening, subscribing, and engaging with the show. This has been another edition of the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.